You look at my career and my life after her, it's just been a rocket shot.
You credit her.
Steve Harvey admitted that without Marjorie, he is nothing. Today, we will prove this to be true. Subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and find out how Mrs. Harvey turned a homeless comedian into a multi-millionaire and a world star, and how her ex-husbands helped her with this. Is it true that Steve did not write his major bestsellers but stole the idea from Marge? And most importantly, how cheating will help Marjorie take away her husband's fortune, and he is afraid of this. For fans, Steve came up with a legend. Allegedly, he dreamed of a career as a comedian and did everything for it. But the truth is that Marjorie forced Harvey to take on 10 projects at once. While Steve was married to his first wife, Marcia, he met Marjorie at his comedy club concert.
I looked at her and I stopped the show and everybody was looking, and the first words I said to her, and this is the honest to God truth, I said, I don't know who you are, but I'm gonna marry you one day.
The father of 3, who was barely making ends meet, knew such a gorgeous woman would have to be won over. She was surrounded by wealthy club owners who showered her with gifts, and this really hurt Steve's ego. Watch to the end to find out if this was future Mrs. Harvey's tactic to make the comedian give her a life of luxury. And is it true that Steve has figured it out and will do everything so his wife can no longer manipulate him, especially after big bone cheating rumors? In the meantime, in 1991, she dumped Harvey because he became homeless. For 3 years, he lived in his 1976 Ford, washed at gas stations, and lived on $50 a day. It was only in 1994 that Harvey got a role in Me and the Boys, and then immediately went on the Kings of Comedy tour. It became one of the most successful stand-up shows in history, grossing $18 million in the first year and $19 million in the second. But Harvey didn't do it for himself.
I know my job. I know what my job is. I'm an earner. I go and make the stuff, I provide the money.
He was dating his second wife, Mary, and married her in 1996. But Harvey was cramped in his native Cleveland. He craved Hollywood-level success. Therefore, without hesitation, the comic abandoned his second family to pursue fame and money.
I made some bad decisions along the way. He resented the fact that I left, but I had to go and become who I am today. I wasn't gonna be that in Cleveland.
While Steve was successfully destroying both marriages, he checked on the personal life of his beloved Marjorie. He knew both of her husbands were behind bars and was very happy about it. Steve did not forget the beauty traded him for those who gave her diamonds. And now he has a chance to conquer his diva. If only his ex-wife had not interfered. In 2005, Mary milked her husband dry and took away the millions he kept in a joint savings account.
The divorce was over and I was like, let's divide the assets. Well, you took all the assets. And I was left with this tax bill. I looked and saw that I only had $1,700.
But don't think jealousy was only part of Marjorie's tactics. She followed Harvey's career as closely as he followed her divorces. After all, in 2005, it was her alleged lover, Steve's bodyguard, William Big Bone, who told his friend to call her. By a strange coincidence, he had her number, and he knew the girl had just gotten divorced again. Yes, Harvey lost millions thanks to his ex, but his TV show and a comedy tour crazy earnings proved Marge he had potential. He will give her much more than her criminal exes. That's why she came back into his life at the right time. Haters believe she married him for the same reason in 2007.
If you look at from 2007, I got Family Feud in 2009. The book came out 2009.
Yet after their first anniversary, it turned out her hubby owes $22 million to IRS. The luxury Marge almost got had to go to the bank.
I set my wife down and she started crying, and I hugged her and told her everything would be okay. I was going to get us out.
And he did, but only thanks to his wife. Remember when Harvey said he got the show in 2009? Family Feud only launched in September 2010, and before that he wrote a book, the idea for which supposedly came to him after many failures in his personal life.
I mean, I failed enough times to know how to get it right. I know all the mistakes I made. I know all the mistakes women allowed me to make. And I put them in a book for you.
Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man spent 64 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list, remaining one of the best-selling books of 2009. Then it received a film adaptation in 2012, which grossed $100 million at the box office. The essence of this concept, which the public likes so much and turned a mediocre comedian into a relationship expert, is simple. According to Steve, men are hunters and should chase a woman, not vice versa. Except Harvey didn't come up with it. It was Marjorie. She showed in practice how to make a man do everything for you. And do you know what her secret was? Make him not just jealous, but scared.
And she was rolling them up the hallway. And I went in there, I said, hey, what's happening? She said, I'm going home. When you're ready for something special and real, you come get me.
She dumped him in the 90s and constantly threatened to leave his ashy mustache as soon as something did not go according to her. This story Steve was just remembering happened because of a phone call. A friend called the host, and Marge was so jealous that at 3 a.m., she packed her suitcase and was ready to leave forever. What did Harvey do? He broke his flip phone and never spoke to that woman again. And to keep his wife happy, he not only started starring in Family Feud, earning $100,000 per episode, but also launched a radio show that brings in $20 million a year.
The radio show got big after that. 4 books later, the movie came out, Think Like a Man. All this after that.
Marjorie became an executive producer on both shows and managed the filming process. Not without her support, her husband released 3 more successful books and, in 2015, became the Miss Universe host, where he was offered fabulous money. According to Entertainment Tonight, no host has ever received such an amount in history. Everything to please his wife. In 2014, Harvey gave her a Rolls-Royce. In 2020, he threw a romantic dinner at Dubai Frame, and in 2022, she had a luxurious birthday party in Paris. The fear of losing such a woman makes Steve the king of simps. In 2008, after learning Harvey's accountant was pocketing his money and almost leaving the comedian with nothing, Marge allegedly threatened to leave. Because of this, Steve agreed to a successful show that brings him $45 million a year, but studio earns even more.
You know, look, man, Family Feud was a 20-year franchise, and they had ownership, and they couldn't get, I was going through tax problems back then. I just wanted a check.
The host tried to make Family Feud international, but the rights belonged to the broadcaster, and Steve had to buy the right to film in Ghana and South Africa. Yes, the show became the most successful in Africa, but it pointed Harvey to a problem needed to be solved. He had to cut his checks to too many people. Unscrupulous accountants, lawyers, agents, producers, and studios. Steve lost up to 35% on their fees, and another 40% took the government. His beloved Marjorie was left without a share of the much-coveted money, and the comedian decided to remove everyone who was in the way.
I just locked in with this chick, man. And she gave me a lot of good advice, man. She made me see things in a different way. And it was her, man.
One of the most important pieces of advice from his wife was to run businesses without intermediates. Harvey has his own menswear line, H by Steve Harvey, and a production company, East 112. In 2018, he launched the development platform Vault Empowers. He also headed the investment company Harvey Ventures and Steve Harvey Products, which is the licensing division of his Steve Harvey Global. Now the comedian has $200 million in his account, half of which Marjorie will have after the divorce. But she's unlikely to get it if she's caught cheating. Is this why she so desperately denies the affair with the bodyguard that blew up the internet in the fall of 2023? But maybe such rumors are part of her jealousy tactics. After all, Steve continues to earn a luxurious living for his wife. In January 2022, he launched a new show, Judge Steve Harvey, without any middlemen.
I finally got one. I created this IP. You know, there's never been a judge show on primetime television, ever.
He bought her Tyler Perry's mansion in Atlanta for $15 million and will further expand a real estate portfolio. Steve intends to become a billionaire ASAP and will do everything for this. Marjorie will wait until he achieves this in order to get a divorce and get much more than $100 million. There is only one problem. Steve has been robbed by his second wife and would make sure this time the savings are safe. The comedian trusts one person, his lawyer, Brandon Williams, who runs his company, Steve Harvey Global. What plan do you think they will come up with to protect Steve's millions? Share in the comments and follow Marjorie's new tactics with us. After all, both of his first marriages broke up because of Steve's cheating, and if his wife finds evidence of his affair, then mega alimony will be in her pocket.